how often do you engage in specific nervous system, in quotes, regulation type activities
You know,
uh,
if I'm not pool
in your
training,
life?
which I haven't been because it's just been so cold, probably if I'm lucky twice a week,
Oh
realistically.
yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
I have a consciousness, with nose breathing. So obviously I'm not walking around mouth breathing,
Yeah.
but as far as like a practice or something asides dedicated to breathing, maybe twice a week. And then if I'm pool training, it's for sure 3 days a week because in a way that whole training, that's what you're doing because that's how you're recovering, that's how you're doing everything. Is
Yeah.
getting offloading CO2, down regulating, oxygenating, going through the whole thing.
Yeah. What would be the highest leverage nervous system regulation? Sounds like such a kind of annoying word to use for that. It's a little bit too much. How do you calm yourself down? What's like the best technique to calm yourself down if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed? As far as a
Yeah.
technique to provide
It
for someone
very,
else.
very easily for me is once I learned that if the exhale was longer, so 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out, let's say ish,
Sure.
I might kind of drop into that kind of pattern to drop into my parasympathetic because that takes no time at all, 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And so rather it being something that I'm mentally trying to sort of tell myself, I just click over to let me pay attention to my breathing pattern and get those exhales longer than those inhales. And then I also notice the tension in my body when I'm doing that. So I'm a person who will put on a mask. So, the jaw, all my muscles tighten up. I get very kind of, um, it's like the worst elements of stoicism.
Hmm.
It's like taking things that are meant to be good and sort of going a little far with them. So I've used that also as something to pay attention to and scan very quickly, top to bottom. Where am I holding tension? And just
Hmm.
being conscious of as the exhale's happening, sort of invite that tension from that area of the body to also go with those exhales.
Hmm. That's a really beautiful thing to share. That you have a tendency of putting on a mask. Do you? Why do you do that? Why do you think? Like, what do you think that originates from for you?
Oh, I think we all have variations of it, right? Because we have to be a lot of different people in the world. I think mine, for me in particular, maybe was exaggerated. It probably started when I was very young. Um, I didn't live with my parents from age 2 to 7. I lived with a different a family friends, a couple that were friends of my parents. So I don't know that I was given a ton of emotional kind of latitude
Hmm.
as a kid. So I think I can remember sort of feeling like I was going to hold on, and so I use sort of an internal holding on, and it's also a natural part of my personality would be to kind of examine things for a while before I would commit to reacting to something, unless it was sort of really immediate um, and urgent. Uh, and then you go into, and then I continued to kind of be in these weird environments as a kid with sort of unpredictability. So I would be very still and sort of use that as a mechanism to kind of calm myself or center myself, and then sort of use that to survey things around me to try to figure out the best either reaction, place for me to move to, plans to make, whatever needed to happen. And then now go into sports, and they teach you to do that because for other reasons, right? Like you're competing and you're feeling pressure, or it's not going your way, but you can't really afford to let everybody know that in the
Hmm.
moment. So it's sort of probably got turned up a little bit with that. And then if I really examined it, now that you're asking, I live with somebody. Laird is very dynamic and emotional and like sort of out there with it all, very different from me. And so I think sometimes, so I don't get caught in that. I also have a
Uh,
tendency to all just be really more still, um, because it also works well with our dynamic.
It's like balancing a pole or poles.
Yeah, I think so. But it helps me to be with someone like that who is kind of courageous and willing just to like, blah, here it is, and even when I have to articulate something uncomfortable to somebody, I can remember Laird saying that he had confronted a friend of ours about something, and I remember being like, "Oh my god!" And he said to me, "No, that is being loving.
Yeah.
Being honest that way is actually being loving." So I think that that's another really valuable lesson is within trying to be fair, balanced, measured myself. At times, that's actually maybe not as loving and honest and intimate as somebody who's willing to just say, "Hey, this is what I think and feel." So
Mm.
I've had to look at that too, I think.